You guys. Sometimes, the biggest moment doesn't happen under the brightest spotlight. Sometimes it happens in the middle of the noise, hidden inside a smile so genuine that for just a few seconds, the entire world seems to slow down. And honestly, I don't know if you felt it too. But watching Jimin surrounded by those children during the FIFA World Cup 2026 experience was one of those moments that quietly stayed with you long after the music faded. Because this wasn't just another celebrity meeting fans. It felt different. The excitement surrounding BTS at the FIFA World Cup had already reached another level long before they even appeared. Millions of people had been waiting. The stadium was alive with anticipation. Every camera was searching for the perfect shot. Every light seemed brighter than usual. You could almost feel the electricity in the air. Then BTS finally arrived. The cheers exploded. It was the kind of roar that only happens when 7 artists who have inspired people across the world step into one of the biggest events on the planet. Every member brought their own energy, their own charisma, their own unmistakable presence. But somehow, Jimin always has this incredible ability to make even the loudest moments feel incredibly personal. How does he do that? Seriously. How can someone perform in front of thousands of people while making every interaction feel like it's happening just a few feet away? That's something I've always admired about him. His stage presence is powerful. His dancing is breathtaking. His expressions are unforgettable. But perhaps his greatest strength has never been any of those things. It's his warmth. Even before the unforgettable interaction everyone keeps replaying. You could already notice it. His smile. Not the practiced smile someone gives because cameras are everywhere. Not the expression of someone trying to create a viral moment. It was relaxed. Comfortable. Almost childlike. The kind of smile that naturally makes other people smile back. Can we talk about that for a second? Because genuine warmth is surprisingly rare. Especially at events this massive. Everything moves so quickly. Schedules are packed. Security is everywhere. Artists are constantly surrounded by cameras. Every second matters. And yet, the moment Jimin found himself standing near the children, everything seemed to soften. The atmosphere changed. The loud excitement was still there. People were still talking. Cameras continued recording every angle. But somehow, your attention shifted away from the crowd. Away from the event itself. Towards something much smaller. Much quieter. Much more human. The children. You could immediately see how excited they were. Some couldn't stop looking around. Some smiled nervously. Others seemed completely amazed that BTS were standing right beside them. Imagine being that young. One moment you're surrounded by people you've probably only seen through screens. The next, they're standing close enough to smile at you. That must have felt unreal. And just when you think that's already enough to create an unforgettable memory, Jimin notices them. Not with hurried attention. Not with a quick greeting before moving on. He actually looks at them. There is something incredibly comforting about the way he makes eye contact. He doesn't rush. He doesn't appear distracted. For those few moments, the children become the center of his attention. Honestly, that tiny detail speaks volumes. Because eye contact isn't just eye contact. It's acknowledgement. It's saying, "I see you," without saying a single word. And maybe that's why so many people found this interaction so touching. Not because it was dramatic. Not because it was carefully planned. But because it felt sincere. There was no need for grand gestures. No need for exaggerated reactions. Sometimes kindness is incredibly quiet. Sometimes kindness looks exactly like this. Jimin leaning forward slightly so he could be closer to the children. Jimin smiling before anyone expected him to. Jimin making sure they felt welcomed instead of overwhelmed. You guys. Those little moments always end up becoming the biggest memories. Did you notice how naturally the children responded? One smile quickly became another. The nervous expressions slowly disappeared. You could almost watch their confidence grow in real time. It's amazing how one person's energy can completely change the atmosphere around them. And that's something Jimin has always had. Whether he's performing on stage, meeting fans, or simply sharing space with people around him, he has this calming presence that's difficult to explain. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room to leave the biggest impression. Sometimes, the gentlest people shine the brightest. As everything continued around them, you could feel two completely different worlds existing at the same time. On one side, one of the biggest entertainment events in the world. Massive production. Global cameras. Historic performances. On the other, a simple interaction between one artist and a group of excited children. No special effects. No dramatic soundtrack and no choreography. Just smiles. Laughter. Warmth. And somehow, that simple moment became every bit as memorable as the performance itself. Honestly, that's what makes Jimin so fascinating. He doesn't separate being an artist from being a human being. Even while representing BTS on one of the biggest stages imaginable, he still notices the people standing beside him. Can we appreciate how difficult that actually is? Most performers would understandably stay completely focused on the show. Every movement has to be perfect. Every second matters. Every camera angle counts. But Jimin somehow makes room for moments like these. Moments that can't be rehearsed. Moments that aren't part of choreography. Moments that simply happen because kindness comes naturally. And then, something happened that made the interaction even sweeter. At first, it was almost impossible to notice. The cameras were moving. People were cheering. Everyone was excited. But if you watched carefully, you could see Jimin's expression change. His smile became even softer. Almost as if he had completely forgotten about the cameras for a second. It wasn't the smile of an international superstar. It was simply someone enjoying the happiness of the children standing around him. That kind of authenticity is incredibly difficult to fake. You either have it, or you don't. Maybe that's why clips of this interaction spread so quickly. People weren't only watching because Jimin is famous. They were watching because kindness is something everyone understands. No translation needed. No subtitles required. A warm smile is understood everywhere. A gentle gesture speaks every language. And perhaps that's what made this interaction resonate with so many viewers. Because in a world where people often celebrate the loudest moments, sometimes it's the quietest ones that stay in our hearts the longest. But, as heartwarming as those smiles already were, what happened just a few seconds later would become the moment everyone kept replaying over and over again. A moment so simple, yet so unforgettable, that even now, people still can't help smiling whenever they see it. And then, there it was. The moment. The one that seemed so small if you looked at it for only a second. Yet somehow became impossible to forget. You guys. Can we just stay in that moment for a little longer? Because everything around them was still moving. The cameras kept rolling. The music continued filling the stadium. The audience remained completely captivated by BTS' incredible performance. But for a brief instant, it almost felt as though time slowed down. Jimin looked toward the children once more. His expression immediately softened. It wasn't the intense gaze of the performer we had been watching just moments earlier. It wasn't the charismatic look that commands an entire stadium. It was gentle, warm, almost comforting. The kind of smile that instantly makes another person feel safe. One of the children stepped a little closer. There was excitement. a little curiosity. Maybe even a hint of nervousness. After all, standing beside one of the world's biggest artists isn't exactly an ordinary day. And then, without making it feel like a grand gesture, Jimin opened his arms. No hesitation. No awkwardness. Just kindness. A genuine, heartfelt embrace. Honestly, why did something so simple feel so powerful? The hug lasted only a few moments. Yet somehow, it carried more emotion than words ever could. You could almost see the child's expression change immediately. The nervous excitement melted into pure happiness. A smile appeared so naturally that you couldn't help smiling too. Did you notice that? Sometimes happiness is contagious. Sometimes watching someone else experience genuine joy reminds you how beautiful kindness can be. That's exactly what happened here. Jimin wasn't trying to create a memorable moment. He wasn't performing for the cameras. He simply responded with warmth. And maybe that's exactly why this interaction touched so many people. Because sincerity always feels different. You can't choreograph it. You can't rehearse it. You can't force it. It simply appears. As naturally as breathing. As naturally as smiling. And Jimin has always had that rare ability to make even the biggest stage feel incredibly personal. The cameras captured the hug from different angles. Every replay seemed to reveal another tiny detail. A reassuring smile. The gentle way he leaned down so the children felt comfortable. The relaxed expression on his face. Nothing looked rushed. Nothing looked staged. Everything felt genuine. You guys. Those little details matter. Because sometimes, the smallest gestures leave the deepest memories. Can you imagine what those children must have been feeling? Years from now. They may not remember every light that filled the stadium. They may not remember every song in perfect order. But there's a good chance they'll remember that smile. That hug. That feeling of being welcomed. That's the kind of memory that stays with people. Not because it's loud, but because it's real. As the performance continued, Jimin smoothly returned to the choreography. And this was another moment that amazed me. 1 second. He was sharing a warm interaction with the children. The next. He transformed back into the extraordinary performer we've admired for years. How does he switch so effortlessly? One heartbeat. Soft. The next. Powerful. Elegant. Confident. His movements flowed perfectly with the music. Every step looked effortless. Every turn matched the rhythm. Every expression changed with the emotion of the song. It was like watching two beautiful sides of the same person. The performer who can command one of the world's biggest stages. And the gentle human being who never forgets the people standing beside him. That's what makes Jimin so unique. His charisma isn't only about incredible dancing. His aura isn't only about breathtaking visuals. It's about connection. Real connection. Whether he's performing for thousands, or simply sharing one quiet moment with a child, he gives his full attention. And people can feel that. Honestly, that's something you can't teach. As BTS continued filling the stadium with incredible energy, you could hear the audience singing along. The cheers became louder. Lights danced across the venue like stars. The atmosphere felt almost magical. But every now and then, the cameras returned to those beautiful interactions. And every single time, you found yourself smiling all over again. Because no matter how spectacular the production became, those simple moments remained unforgettable. They reminded everyone that even on the biggest stage in the world, human kindness never loses its power. It wasn't just another halftime show. It wasn't just another global performance. For a few precious seconds, Millions of people were reminded that compassion can shine just as brightly as talent. And honestly, that's what stayed with me long after the final note faded. Not only Jimin's flawless performance, not only his graceful movements, but the way he naturally shared warmth with the children around him. There was no need for dramatic speeches. No need for big announcements. One smile. One hug. One sincere interaction. Sometimes, that's enough. Maybe that's why these clips continue finding their way onto people's screens. Not because they're filled with spectacular effects, but because they capture something timeless. A reminder that genuine kindness never goes unnoticed. Especially when it comes from someone standing under one of the brightest spotlights in the world. As the final moments of the performance unfolded, the stadium erupted into thunderous applause. The music reached its emotional peak. Confetti drifted through the air. The lights painted the night sky in brilliant colors. BTS stood together, surrounded by an atmosphere that felt both triumphant and deeply emotional. Yet somewhere within all that excitement, many viewers carried another memory home. A quieter one. A softer one. A memory of Jimin smiling at children as if nothing else mattered. A simple embrace that lasted only seconds, but left a lasting impression. Maybe that's what makes certain moments unforgettable. Not because they're the biggest, but because they're the most heartfelt. And perhaps that's why, whenever people look back on this incredible FIFA World Cup 2026 experience, they'll remember more than just the spectacular stage. They'll remember the warmth, the kindness, the humanity. The reminder that behind the global superstar is someone whose smallest gestures can brighten another person's day. If this beautiful interaction warmed your heart even a little, let me know in the comments, what was your favorite Jimin moment from the FIFA 2026 experience? If you enjoyed reliving this unforgettable memory with me, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more heartfelt BTS and Jimin stories, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another special moment. Until we meet again, keep supporting BTS. Keep sharing kindness wherever you go. And as always, Borahi.